Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel, and I have my coffee, which, my bad, I put one shot of espresso in it and my water to make an Americano, realizing now that I'm looking at it that I forgot to put 2 shots of espresso in it, so it's going to be a little watery, and I'm going to have to go pull another shot here in just a second. However, we've got books, so I'm going to get through that one first. And then we don't have rain at the moment, but it might be coming later this afternoon. We have had rain for the past 3-ish days, which I love. And I did try to record on one of those days as well. But we are diving into some of the last books that I have for April. And it has been a book-filled month this month. I think this is the month that I have probably read the most books in a single month than I have in a while. But today's book is called The Cornish Castle Murders. It is number 8 in the Nosey Parker Mysteries. Now, sometimes I don't do books out of order unless they can stand alone. And this one absolutely can stand alone. So want to put that out there first and foremost, that you do not have to read these in order to know what's going on. I think if you do, you will get a little bit more kind of backstory, what leads up to certain events, XYZ. But you don't have to know all of that to be able to enjoy this story. So let's dive in. The author is Fiona, I think it's Leitch, and it is expected to be published April 29th of 2025. It's approximately 300 pages in the Kindle edition, and I want to say on my ebook or my NetGalley app, it was somewhere around 288, so not too bad of a page discrepancy there. Let's click this real quick. The brand new Jodi Nosey Parker cozy mystery to escape with in 2025, as former Met police officer Josie Nosey Parker and her fiance DCI Nathan Withers arrive at a gorgeous Cornish castle ahead of their wedding. They're excited for what the future holds. With the party in full swing, the guests are enjoying a weekend of dancing, activities, and relaxation. So nothing shocks them more than when Nathan's friend shoots a straight bullseye on the archery field. Just a shame it goes into a young woman on the other side of the target. Yet, not everything is as it looks, and on closer inspection, it appears the woman was already deceased. As suspicions turn to the guest, Jodi and Nathan must set aside their celebrations to investigate the mystery before the killer strikes again. And I picked this up because, I do frequently cover mysteries, murder mysteries, and XYZ, those sorts of things. However, this one just seemed kind of fun. There's something about reading these little cozy British mysteries that does make me think of like Agatha Christie and Ngaio Marsh and people of that nature. Although I think Ngaio Marsh may be Australian. I'd have to look that up. But that's another one that I really enjoy. But I was recently asked in one of my commentary questions, aren't most mysteries have centered around murders? And I would say probably yes, but not always. Sometimes the mystery is not about a deceased person and how that happened, but maybe a missing person or a missing gem. Sometimes people don't always pass away. Sometimes they're just kidnapped or things of that nature. And I like encountering the different mysteries that do incorporate other elements besides just, oh no, we found a body. Now we got to figure out the whodunit. I love the whodunit. It's really fun. This one did have a certain amount of predictability in my personal thoughts. I guess since I read so many, I do kind of gauge some of my enjoyment based on if I can figure it out before we get to the final page or final pages, so to speak, where everything is revealed and we dive into how everything played out. With Agatha Christie, it is so very infrequent that I was like, I guess, able to figure a lot of those out. She is very good at weaving that web, giving you some red herrings, leaving you with minuscule cute clues that I guess if you're not Agatha Christie, you may overlook. I'm certain there are some people out there who are able to figure these sorts of cases out. And this one does point in a couple of red herring ways, and we do go down a couple of rabbit holes, but it's very fun because Jodie Parker, who is kind of she's an ex-detective. She has, I guess, quit at the time of this particular book. She is a former Met police officer. Her husband, or soon-to-be husband, fiance, is still a DCI, which I'm not 100% certain if that's like a detective captain or something, or detective chief inspector. I'm gonna maybe kind of lean into that one. DCI, maybe detective chief inspector. But at this particular point in, I guess, the series of 8, because this is book 8 in the series, we've come a long way with their relationship. And that's what it seems like so far. So I guess, if anything, spoiler alert, if you meet Jodie and Nathan in earlier books, it sounds as though it's I don't want to say enemies to lovers, but they're kind of like opposites and two lovers. It sounds as though maybe she's sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. He's trying to tell her, I will arrest you for putting your sleuthy nose where it no longer belongs. But by this point, they have now, made it official as a couple, and they're at this Cornish castle for their wedding. And it does feel like that's a tongue twister, as I'm like, Jodie, Nosey, Parker, and then Nathan Withers and Cornish Castle, and just putting all of that together does feel very tongue twister-ish. Now, the fun thing about this one is it is, in my personal thoughts, much more modern. This is not kind of like a village, countryside, I guess carts and such, small, period level, period piece sort of British book. This is more of modern, where we do have cell phones, we do have social media, we have karaoke, and the mom of, I think, Jodie is the bride in this particular book. The mom is she loves singing Prodigy. I could never imagine my mom singing Prodigy, but I can imagine my mom singing Limp Bizkit. So there you go. I guess moms sometimes just have a bit of a quirk to them. The book is really fun, though. It is very light. It is not complicated in a lot of different ways. There's not a lot of, I guess, action or thriller sort of. It's a little twisty-turny, but not so much. It's kind of hard to have a twisty-turny novel that takes place in the Cornish countryside at a castle with a golf course and pretty much all the amenities provided. So again, it's not going to be something that's going to linger with you too long. It's not going to be one, it's going to pick it up, read it easily, poolside or what have you, and then maybe give it to a friend to let them enjoy it as well. I do think I'm interested in reading some of the others in this series. They do seem really fun, and I did read that, at the end of this book, there is a recipe, which I do like as well, because we just did one not too long ago. I think it's called the Fellowship of Bakers and Magic, which was magical in all of its different ways. But it had recipes in the end as well. This one also has at least one recipe for like a gooey chocolate cake. And that does sound very decadent and delicious. Personally, for my birthday, or kind of for holidays or special events in general that get to surround me, I like Italian cream cakes. Now, I'm pretty particular, and I do love it homemade, and store-bought just really never quite lives up to it. but I love a good Italian cream cake. The first book of this Cornish mystery series, it's the Nosey Parker mystery series if you're looking for it. The first book is the Cornish wedding murder, and then we have the Cornish village murder, and they all kind of rotate around that a little bit. There is a little bit of an acknowledgement towards the end by Miss Fiona Leitch, who she does say it does get harder to write, like in the series, just simply because she doesn't want to make it too dry and boring by rehashing different things. So that does make a lot of sense as well. I thought this one was really, like I said, it was fun, it was good. This was my first experience with this Cornish murder mystery series, and it does give me like a just kind of a little bit of a cozy feeling, just because the stakes seem fairly low. The individual who does not make it is not really associated with the wedding party, but in a very brief sort of situation, a brief sort of way. But the thing is that it happens at the castle. So now Nathan and Jody have to decide if their wedding is going to continue, or if they're going to kind of change their, pause the celebration long enough to solve this situation as well. Not only that, one of their guests seems to be kind of possibly linked to it in some sort of way. Again, I am trying to be very vague. I am trying to not spoil anything because I just don't want to do that. But I just wanted to scroll just a little bit. It's so funny because this particular writer, she says she's written for football and motoring magazines, but she's also DJ'd at illegal raves. And I loved that description. That just sounds incredibly fun that she has DJ'd at illegal raves. And I don't even know, but it made me laugh when I read that. Now, there is a lot of, I guess, British slang in this, and if I hadn't watched a lot of British TV, some of it may have gone over my head. But I'm also going to review a book in a minute that is another British mystery, and I listened to that one in audiobook, but I'll talk about that one here probably in the next episode or two. Just trying to think, is there anything else I want to say about this particular book without giving up too many spoilers? And I'm going to say there's not a ton. There is a cute little dog named Jermaine. Definitely want to give it a cuddle. I don't know how much more this author may write in this series. There may be one more just to get that wedding in. But even if not, you do feel like you don't have to go further if you don't want to. This could potentially wrap things up for Jody and Nathan, but doesn't have to. And I kind of like that Miss Leitch. It's over here. It's Leitch, and I've not really encountered that spelling to know for sure if it's Leitch. So if someone could just let me know, that would be fantastic. I do try my best. I do try my best to pronounce these as best as possible. But we've got a wedding. We've got like a little bit of a Hindu going on. We've got a little stag do going on. We've got girls in high heels, maybe not wearing a bunch, a very angry and upset boyfriend. We've got a really gorgeous hotel / castle situation going on. And honestly, I'd love to see it. The author does put an acknowledgement towards the end of the book, like I said, which she does acknowledge where this is kind of like based on. So probably going to Google that and see what it looks like. I just finished the book this morning, so wanted to get on here, get some things recorded, because tomorrow I am busy. I am going to the Huntsville Expo, which is kind of like a comic convention that's been growing over the past few years. And we've got some pretty cool, stars, celebrities showing up. Now, I mean, some of them may have had their heyday back in the 90s and early 2000s, but still, it's kind of fun to go see them when we get the chance. And plus, I don't know if William Shatner's going to live much longer, so it might just be cool to just see him, even if it's just across the room, and like put eyes on him and be like, there he is. I don't know, but still very cool. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up with this particular book. I hope you all have enjoyed your day. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not liked and subscribed already, then I certainly hope you will. And thank you for joining me on this journey. I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one.